Hello and welcome to a review of They Are Billions, developed and published by Numantian Games. And They Are Billions is a kind of survival RTS game. Very like a olden style, good old Command Conquerors and all of that style RTS. And it's still in early access, as you can see from the corner here. So this is the beta early access version 5.5. And currently the game includes the survival game mode, which I'm gonna be showing in a second, and it's going to have a campaign mode later down the line, but not currently. But let's jump into the survival. So we'll call this Bella, and you get thrown into this window here where you can choose your map type. So there's currently in this version there is 4 map types. It feels very small amount of maps, but they're all like 4 map teams, and the maps are each time randomly generated, so you never play basically the same map. Of course, the certain map type generates in certain ways, like one of the maps is very open and one of them has like a lot of choke points and so on, and they also have their different mechanics depending on the map. For example, in the Frozen Highlands, you can read here that infected activity is much lower because of the cold, for example, and the buildings takes more energy due to the cold, and your units walk slower. And also your score factor depends on the game's difficulty, basically. So you start with fairly low versions here, and we'll go with the Dark Moorland, which is the first one. And you unlock these by completing the previous map. So the Dark Moorland is the first one, then Peaceful Lowlands, then Frozen Highlands, and Desolate Wasteland. And you need to complete it at a certain score to unlock the map. But you might want to try out the game first at a lower score to kind of learn the mechanics, because it's definitely not an easy game. It seems kind of simple, but it's kind of hard still. And then pump up the difficulty later. Also, the duration affects how difficult it is. So going for a brutal immediately pumps up the difficulty. 100 is kind of the average, and then you have the easier ones. And then population amount. I like the low population or medium myself mostly, but also this affects, of course, how difficult it gets. And you can pump it up to pretty high numbers, which does offer quite a lot of difficulty, even for a skilled RTS player, which I'm definitely not. So we're going with 100 and low population and Dark Moorland. The game duration means how long you have to survive, basically, until you win the game. So you need to survive 100 days of waves and waves of zombies attacking your colony. So it's kind of like a RTS-based defense game, and this is how long you will have to survive to win the mission. Let's start this. I'll show you a bit of the game here. So bringing doom to the civilization, are we? And you start out with a very simple one building, couple units, and you build out from there, develop new technologies by building buildings, and then provide food for your colonists, get workers from colonists, and then you get power. And it's this kind of triangle of power, workers, food that you need to deal with. So let me pause the game, which is actually one of the best things about this game that I love compared to many other RTS games. So when RTS means, of course, real-time strategy, and real-time means you have constantly things happening and you don't really have a break. And that's why a lot of people prefer like turn-based games over real-time, because in turn-based game you can just pause the game. Well, it doesn't really pause because it's turn-based, but you can always spend as much time as you want doing your decisions and judge the situation and think what you want to do next and all that. But you usually can't do that in RTS games because it's real time. It's constantly going and going. But in this one, you have a pause, so you can pause the game at any point. Just the space bar or the button down here, which allows you to just time to think what you're gonna do next, how do you deal with the situation, what you want to build next, and all of that. You can decide on your own time and not have to just constantly be building everything and then try to do that at the same time. Like that's what makes RTS games hard for a lot of people, is that you have so many things on fire at the same time, and you still kind of have to try to learn the game at the same time. But this one allows you to pause the game and just look around what you're doing. So this is your command center, and if this gets infected or destroyed, you will lose the game. So you need to protect this with your life. But usually in this game, if you're like a wall line and your defenses fail, that's pretty much GG or a game over immediately. As infected buildings spawn more zombies, depending on how many workers there are in the building. So it quickly just snowballs from building to building, especially if they hit your housing center. To just such great numbers of zombies that, well, it's time for a new run. Okay, let's look at the menu, the UI here first. Like that's how I like to approach games. So you have the map, of course, in the corner. You have your days and your hours. You get the income based on hours. Like here you can see our resources currently. So we have gold, wood, stone, iron, and oil. And you can see that they produce every 8 hours. You can also see that we currently have 0 of most of them, and we have a maximum storage of 200 and etc. You can increase the storage amounts by building warehouses or with mayors, and you can see your current income here. Then we have colonists, which we have 0. You get mayors based on colonists. I'll show you the mayors in a second. And then workers, which are required for making soldiers, which are required for making like mining, wood cutting, all of that needs workers. And then you need food, which also is required for soldiers, depending on soldier. Some of them, the ranger doesn't need food, if I remember correctly. And also your colonists, this is the main thing the colonists want. So you build colonist houses for food, they need food. And then power is needed by most buildings, especially the better higher tier and defense buildings. Also here in the command center we can see some of the info from there. So there's energy radius, which is basically your building radius. So it gets transmitted by these energy buildings, Tesla towers. I'll show you them in a moment as well. And then you have a bonus income and all of these from the main building, also view range. You start out with 4 rangers. I'm gonna make a control group here, so there's control groups. You can use control plus a number to make a control group, and then you start with 1 soldier. And there's differences between the units. This game doesn't have that many units. It has the ranger, the soldier, a sniper. That's your 3 basic units. Kinda tell what they do by the names. Rangers are quiet, so there is a concept of noise in the game. So there's zombies all over the place. So loud guns like snipers and explosions draw zombies really far away. Especially on the 4th map. It's like you make one shot and half of the map just have snowballs into your base. So rangers use actually bows, and they're also quick, which allows them to kind of silently go around on the map and kill zombies without attracting attention. Soldiers are kind of the middle unit. They have a lot of armor, so they're kind of tanky, and then they do a decent damage. And snipers then, of course, snipe very hard. A sniper ball is really powerful in this game. And then you have several like later tier units. You have Lucifers, which is kind of flamethrower unit. Then you have Thanatoses that toss it's like a mortar shot explosion. And then you have Titans, which are like this walking minigun kind of units, kind of like a mech, and they're also really good at sweeping things. So that's basically the units you run in this game, and then you have defense buildings and all that. So it's fairly simple on the units and all that. And then you have buildings you can build here. So there's in the colonists you have tents, which are your basic buildings. So for workers, which we actually need right now. So we're gonna make a couple of workers from the tents. And there's this concept of like an area around your buildings. So it's tile-based building in this game, and it takes a 2x2 4 square area for this tent. And many buildings have this radius around them that you can't build them right next to them, especially production buildings and such. And your command center, of course. Also, you can't totally block a building, especially like a tent, so that there is no entrance to it, or it will complain. This area is actually kind of kind of rough. There's not much space to build. We'll just build a couple houses there, like that. Okay, let's unpause the game and let's go look around a bit. There's several things you can use for resources in this game. Trees for wood, of course, then fishing from the water, farmland on the grass. This is stone. There's also all these other ones, the iron and the oil as well, that you can find out. We are very lucky, and we encountered a Doom village. So there's a Tavern of Doom, Dwelling of Doom, and etc. in there. And shooting these buildings spawns some zombies. There's zombies there to start with as well, which is great. So this is kind of rough starting place for us. All the terrain here, like the kind of rocky terrain here, the trees and the water is impassable by every unit, also by zombies, and there's no way to destroy these. So these are basically natural blocks and choke points for you. So we actually don't have anything here, it seems. We can't pass through there. Yeah, we need to go around. So this is actually really good for us, which means we currently have only 2 choke points here. I don't want to put my noisy soldier in there, so I'm gonna put one ranger there. Keep an eye if a zombie wanders in. Here's an oil spot for us, and there's some iron. There's also a gold spot that gives you money that you can find. And there's some zombies, quite a lot of them actually. So zombies start on the map, and you also get some spawns later on the map, and then every certain amount of days you get a wave of zombies. And this is the whole map you can see here, so we can explore around a bit, and that's very big area already on the map. So the map is not the biggest, but you are surrounded by zombies basically from all sides, so you kind of need to keep it small as well. Okay, let's get a sawmill. So this will produce wood depending on how many trees there is nearby. So there's 11 wood spot there, which is actually pretty decent. And you can't build a second one because well, we don't have any resources, but there's also a radius around them, how close you can build another one. Especially comes to play with the hunter's cottage and the fisherman's cottage, which produce you food. So for example, I put one in there, and then I can't put the second one too close to it. So spacing them out here as much as possible is a good idea. Same with the hunter's cabins. Both of them produce food, which don't actually require any workers, which is really good. So here we can now see that effect. So there is already a building getting resources from the same area. So you need to space it out like here for this other fishing thing. Put a hunter's cabin here. So here we can see that there is already a building there too close, so I can't put that there. There's 16 food there. So pretty good food actually from there, and that's gonna increase our food production. So there's later on, as you get the wood and gold and everything workers, you get the wood workshop, which has research for a lot of wooden buildings and upgrades you can make. Then you get a stone workshop, and then you get one more building later on that gives you further research. And getting these is fairly important quickly. Like there's the farming, which gives you a lot of food compared to like these small first early buildings. So you need to focus on them. You also of course have walls and towers and gates to help with the defense. And as I said, there is this building area. You can kind of see it around here. So the command center produces this grid here, which is the building area, and I can't build anything here because the building does not have access to energy in this area. But you can build these Tesla towers. So here is a Tesla tower which extends the range basically. So we can put one in there and extend that range. These do attract zombies as well, so going too close to this is very bad idea with that. But I'm gonna probably want to stick a wall here to defend against that. Meanwhile, we kind of clear out this area. So as I said, every certain amount of days, it's a bit random as well, so you don't always know that day X, this hour, you're gonna get a zombie horde, but you kind of generally know that okay, we are about to get whacked by an army of zombies sooner as you play the game, so you can kind of prepare for that. Some more tents while we wait to get some workers. And the attacks come from one main direction always, so north, south, west, east. But it can depend like on the whole side here. So even if it says like east, it might come from like top here, and still kind of depending on the layout of the map, it might still hit your like northern side or wherever it goes. Like sometimes I've had a map that's almost basically split by half by my base, and sometimes then the attacks can basically hit in a very strange locations.
Who's there? A colony. A colony who? A colony who needs a mayor, that's who.
So, as you get certain amounts of population into your colony, you get mayors. And mayors are always the same, like the race, Laket, and Laura Pettigrew are always the same stats. But there is a big pool of different mayors. And you always get random two. There's different levels. This is the level 1 mayor. So, depending which mayors you randomly get, depends which bonus you can get. So this one gives me a free lookout tower, and this gives me a tech for ballistas immediately. Ballista, you need a building to research, so getting this early on is quite actually powerful. There's also a certain like a level 1 mayor that gives you 2 free ballistas, which is really, really nice. But this gives me the tech so I can build them in at any point I want. So I'm gonna go for that. Lookout tower gives you basically just a range, vision range, which can be really useful because you can then see what's going on, and you can also predict attacks and all of that when you can see them coming a bit earlier. But ballista sounds great to me. And here's the mayors. So we have the level 1 at level 200 or 200 population. You get the second one 600 and then 1200. But you definitely want to aim for an even higher population than this to do a very successful run of this game. Although it is not easy most of the time, especially on tight maps like this. It might be really hard. Although this one, being the first map, it's not that bad. So I'm clearing these zombies here. There's a couple of reasons for it. Just to get the zombies out of the way, to expand in here, and also to level up my guys. So you can see here is an experience that he's collecting while he's killing the zombies. So he's got 6% now, and they turn into veterans when they kill enough units, and they get a really good stat bonus for that. So leveling up your guys is really great. Also, the other reason, as I said, you can actually go around and expand if you've killed these guys. And also, a bit of a spoiler, not massive spoiler, but anyways, is that in the final wave, so when you're close to your goal, this looks bad. The day you chose as your difficulty, when the final attack comes, is that every zombie on the map will attack your base. So that's why you want to clean up a bit. Or a lot. You basically want to kill as much zombies on the map as possible, so that you don't get the extra, because just dealing with the waves is quite enough as it is. So you could actually here see when I was shooting these zombies was that suddenly much more zombies started to move in here than when I was using the ranger, because the loud gun on the soldier, and I moved my guys a bit back because I was getting so many zombies snowballing into my base. Let's get... Oh, we have a ballists already. Ballists also do pull a bit of aggro. So let's make a wall there. This is actually a gate, and then we'll plop down some walls, and also give them a tower in there. I might actually want to double up this. Oops. Hello.
Yes, tell me.
Says zombies are getting kinda angry on that side. So just to prepare for future problems with this. This is going to start spawning zombies and attack me at some point. It has a finite number of zombies, so it's not like it's going to be spawning like endless amount of zombies. But it's still enough, especially early game, to totally ruin your run. It's also really easy to miss like one zombie somewhere, like sneaking by and then hitting your building, and then it snowballs and you die. I've done that way too many times already in this game. And I think the next one we kind of want is probably the soldier center. So we should try to get a quarry to mine this, and then get soldiers to make more soldiers, and etc.
What do you want now?
And then just expand from there. And you slowly want to basically just do this like a wall here, expand more, and expand more, and expand more outwards from your base. So let's do a dumb thing. Let's go poke that village there. So you'll see how badly it can go really quickly. And this is on a fairly easy difficulty, as I said.
Okay.
So I'm playing on a fairly easy. Also, destroying these buildings gives you a extra resource. So if you can, and when you can destroy these, it's actually really good to do. There is actually not really much zombies around yet in here, but there will be very quickly. So I can actually kind of safely explore around. But let's just hit this building a bit and hit there. And hit there. Also, you get different types of zombies. As you can see, the ones we had on here were kind of these slowly just walking around, lumbering zombies. Now we get some runners. And there's different types of zombies that you can get. Just these runner guys already are kind of a problem for us. Then there's other type of runner that's a lot sturdier, so you need to shoot it a lot more. Then you have these super fast zombies that just jump over fences and eat you, etc. Oh hey, and as I said, that infected behind there because I pulled all my units and I'm missing out, and he's hitting my building, so things are going well. And this is how this game often goes, especially when you're playing first time. And letting him attack the building infects the building, which spawns more zombies, which pretty much means I'm gonna probably die here. So I need to deal with this situation here. Luckily it was just that building and not this building, and then just all of these buildings. And now I have a problem here with the spawning zombies, and my gate is falling. But that's basically they are billions. This is how it starts. They're not really billions, but it is tens of thousands of zombies. So this game doesn't joke about the numbers of zombies, especially on the higher difficulties. It can easily be like 30,000 plus zombies, 45,000 zombies attacking during the gameplay in your colony. So this is a lot of zombies for sure. And even if the game is currently in the early access, I can highly recommend it as this. I've spent let me see how much. I spent 47 hours currently on the game myself, streaming it and playing through the 4 missions. And I'm not the greatest RTS player. I'm I guess competent playing on the strategy games. So even with the just 4 map types plus the random generation, there is still quite a lot of play out of those 4 maps. Especially if you do them on a easier difficulty first, then unlock the new maps and then try them, and then if you want to go for the really high difficulties. So there is quite a lot to play in this early access version already. I know people who have played this already for like hundreds and hundreds of hours. And haven't really still beaten the hardest difficulties, because they are actually really hard. And there's autosave. Game doesn't actually have saves, it's all autosave, so it's basically a hardcore mode, Iron Man mode all the time as well, which makes it not even harder. And as I said at the start of this video, there's going to be a campaign for the game, not really announced yet when it's going to be out there, but I'm very much looking forward to that campaign already. So anyways, that's my review of the They Are Billions. Definitely pick it up if you like RTS games, especially like a kind of older, a bit slower RTS games where you don't have to be all time clicking on things and have very quick fingers and mouse clicks all over the place. Just chill, defend against zombies. Really great RTS game already in the early access. It also works really well. There's not many issues with the game, like bugs or anything. There's a couple kind of problems with like a UI I encountered where some clicks kind of didn't work as you intended them, and same with the the attack move. So there is different options here, like you can put your guys patrol, which works actually really well. the chase option is quite nice, but can have some issues sometimes. And then sometimes when you use the attack move, especially on the edges of the map, sometimes it sends your troops somewhere else than where you intended. So you have to be kind of pay attention. But mostly it is working really, really well. So it's fairly polished. Actually, it's one of the most polished early access games I've ever played at this point. It's very, very bug free in most cases, and it's also being patched pretty often already. So big thumbs up for that as well. But yeah, that's the review. So thank you for watching this quick look into the There Billions. Definitely pick it up. And if you like this review, check out the other reviews, let's plays, and everything on the YouTube channel, and check out the live stream on twitch.tv/Pelaner, where I do my live stream every day, playing games like this, other strategy, management, building games, and a bit of everything every now and then. But anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. So bye bye.